Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunattu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. Together we'll chant from verses 1 to 5 of chapter 3. Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Jayasi chet karmanaste.
Jayasi chet karmanaste.
Mata buddhir janardana.
Mata buddhir janardana.
Tat kim karmani ghore mam.
Tat kim karmani ghore mam.
Niyojayasi keshava.
Niyojayasi keshava.
Vyamishreneva vakyena.
Vyamishreneva vakyena.
Buddhim mohayasiva me.
Buddhim mohayasiva me.
Tadekam vada nishchitya.
Tadekam vada nishchitya.
Yena shreyohamapnuyam.
Yena shreyohamapnuyam.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
Lokesmin dvividha nishtha.
Lokesmin dvividha nishtha.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Karma yogena yoginam.
Karma yogena yoginam.
Na karmanam anarambhat.
Na karmanam anarambhat.
Naishkarmyam purushoshnute.
Naishkarmyam purushoshnute.
Nacha sanyasanadeva.
Nacha sanyasanadeva.
Siddhim samadhigacchati.
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि
जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत्
जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत्
कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म
कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म
सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः
सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So last week we started verse number 4, wherein he says, "Na karmana anarambhat," from non-commencement of actions, naishkarmyam purushaha asnute, na asnute, means he does not obtain the state of naishkarmyam, actionlessness. Nacha sanyasanat eva. Not only that, he says, by sannyas, by renunciation, siddhim samadhigacchati. Na samadhigacchati means you don't achieve siddhim. Siddhi means in this context perfection. So you don't achieve the state of perfection through sannyas, by renunciation. So as I told you, a master always wants to remove all the preconceived notions of a student. See, when we talked about nishta, there was one dimension of nishta, Nishta means fixation, fixity. So what should you be fixed on? The infinite and infinite alone. Your fixation must be on that ultimate truth, nothing else. So till you get fixed on that ultimate truth, when you go and surrender to a master and when you ask him for guidance, he will keep talking or doing things which are against your beliefs, because whatever beliefs you have, they are all relative. If you have already reached the infinite level, then there is no question of going to a master to learn. Now, since you are at the level of finite, whatever be your beliefs, your fixations, they have to be relative. So in verse number 3, when he used the word nishta, what he is referring to is, you should strive to attain fixation on the infinite, ultimate truth, the absolute. But the mind has the tendency to get fixed on something. It could be a physical object, it could be an emotion, it could be a thought, a belief, an idea, but all of them are relative. So the mind has a tendency to get fixed in one of these. So when a master sees that, he immediately, indirectly gives the opposite of whatever you are fixed on. See, a true master carefully observes the student. What is that particular student fixed on? Now, the moment you get fixed on something relative, that becomes an obstacle for you in the spiritual path. That does not allow you to grow further. That starts binding you, limiting you. In general, you believe that you are the physical body, you are the mind, you are the intellect. So in general terms, what these masters have said is you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect. Now this is a very gentle statement, but when it comes to specific statement, that is specific advice, the master carefully sees where is the student's mind fixed. That is the block. A person's mind may be very much fixed on wealth, let us say. See, there is first of all you have to understand what do we mean by fixed. I am using the word fixed, fixation and all that, because just now we did verse number 3, wherein we saw the dimension of nishta. One of the dimensions of nishta is a fixation. There is another dimension is attachment. So generally it is said you should not be attached. But then in verse number 3 he says you should be in nishta, which is attachment. So what does he mean by that? You should be attached to the infinite. The mind has to be attached on something or other. Even though we use the word detachment, detachment is practically not possible. The nature of the mind is to get attached. So when you get attached to the higher, you will automatically get detached to the lower. So when we use the word detachment, it is from a higher standpoint we say that now your mind gets detached from this lower. But actually what has happened is the mind has got attached to something higher. That is fixed. So the attachment starts with fixation. Once you get fixed with something, then all your energies start flowing towards that object. That is why in the ancient wisdom it is said you cannot practice detachment. You can only practice diverting the attachment from the lower to the higher. If you try to forcefully practice detachment, that is what he means by sannyas here. He'll be explaining further as we go on to the other verses also. But I'm giving you those basic concepts so that when we come there, it will be very easy for you to understand. So when you forcefully try to detach yourself, detach your mind, that will cause a lot of wounds psychologically. It's like trying to separate a child from its toys. As the child grows, it will automatically get detached from the toys. The toys will drop off on their own. But when the child is still at that level, if you forcefully take away all the toys from the child, now this child will become psychologically disturbed. So many people who get into spirituality, they get psychologically disturbed. Why? Because they are calling it spirituality, but they are not actually practicing what true spirituality is. So when you go to a master, he will not just simply tell you, no, come on, get detached, get detached. He will not merely say that and stop with that. He will give you methods by which you can direct your present attachment to the lower to something higher. That is called sadhana, the effort made to get fixed or attached to the higher. That is the path, nishta. And as you keep advancing, then the fixation would become on the infinite truth alone. So till you get to that state, the master will keep on contradicting your beliefs. See, it looks like a contradiction to the student because he is stuck at that level. So if a person is fixed on wealth, let us say, the master will say there is no happiness in wealth. If a person is fixed on name and fame, he'll say there is no happiness in name and fame. See, it all depends on what the fixation is for the student. Two people may come to the master. He may say one thing to one person, another thing to another person, depending upon what their fixations are. Let us say one person is too attached to wealth. He thinks wealth alone is life. To him, he'll say, wealth will not give you happiness. There are so many things. But let us say another person comes to him who hates wealth. Now, that is also a state of imbalance. Because whatever you are attached to or whatever you hate, your mind will keep running towards both these things. So when you hate something, your mind will again get fixed there. A person who thinks wealth is wrong, now his mind will get fixed on wealth in trying to avoid it. See, if you try to avoid thinking about something, that thought will keep on coming to you. It's very interesting. So to such a person, the master will say, wealth is very important, it is very useful, goddess Lakshmi. You need to acquire wealth. Now the problem is, if both the students come together, now he will make one statement to this person and another statement to that person. In effect, both will get confused if they are not careful. So the principle being the same, the application varies. What is the principle? Nishta. Be fixed on the infinite. That is how the master functions. So even if you go to the Upanishads, the master gives the highest level of wisdom, and the student gets an amazing experience, a glimpse of the truth. The thoughts become so refined, the emotions become so single-pointed that the student almost experiences the truth. One step short of that, It's a very, very powerful experience which a student has. And he starts reveling in that. The moment the master sees that, he says, this is not the truth. This is not realization. It looks as if he is putting down the student. See, if the student is not devoted, is not surrendered, he will start judging the master and he'll think, oh, I'm experiencing such a beautiful thing, why is he trying to discourage me? But of course, Upanishadic level students have the highest level of devotion and surrender. So they are not going to think like that. They understand that whatever the master does is only for their good. So why is he, as it were, discouraging that student from from reveling in that experience? Because he wants the student to get fixed on the infinite and infinite alone. So sometimes if you are short of confidence, he will boost your confidence. Sometimes if you become overconfident, egoistic with superiority complex, then he may put you down to bring you back to that balance. So the whole idea is being in nishta, that is fixed on the infinite. So till you get fixed on the infinite, the master will keep on pulling you away from whatever relative thing you get fixed on, you get attached to. So that is not a very pleasant thing. It may not be a very pleasant experience for the student, even for the master. See, imagine he has to keep on dissuading, he has to keep on pulling the student from falling and getting fixed somewhere, getting stuck somewhere. That's why it requires the highest amount of surrender, the highest amount of devotion. Actually, when the surrender is very less, then the master will do this process indirectly. He will guide the student indirectly. Because if he directly guides, that will cause a confrontation. Because the student has not developed that surrender. Now, as the surrender of the student increases, then the master will start doing this work, that is this process, quite directly itself. Last week I told you that a master will never be direct. It's not that he'll never be direct. Practically speaking, he may not be direct because it's very rare to find a person who has that kind of pure devotion and surrender. But it all depends upon the level of surrender. If the student can take it, then the master will give more. It is like a blow, whenever the master comes and corrects a student, it is like a blow to the student's ego. So if the student has not surrendered, he will not be able to take it, he or she. But yet the master cannot keep quiet and leave it off like that, because he is asking for guidance. Therefore, he will take the indirect method. The principle is the same only, but he may use indirect methods. Indirect methods mean he will not directly correct the student. He may talk about some other story or some other experience, or so many things he may do, but the student will start realizing what is going wrong within himself or herself. That opportunity will be provided to correct oneself. So here, why is Krishna emphasizing on the non-commencement of action, that is getting away from action? He is saying that is not going to give you perfection. Whether it is anarambhat, that is karmanam anarambhat, or sannyasa, both together, he is talking about giving up actions. Now, why is he emphasizing and saying that giving up actions will not give you spiritual growth? Because Arjuna is the Arjuna's mind has got attached to this concept of external sannyas, temporarily only, because he was unable to face his emotions in the war field. So he wanted to escape from action. He wanted to move away from action. So seeing Arjuna's fixation moving towards that, now Krishna is saying, by non-commencement of action, you cannot obtain actionlessness. It is very interesting. Here, he is saying, if you don't do actions, you cannot achieve perfection. If you avoid doing actions. In other words, he is encouraging you to do actions, right? Actions will give you perfection. That's the indirect meaning of this. Now, what is interesting is if you go to the Upanishads, there it says na karmana na prajaya dhanena, means na karmana. If you do actions, you will not obtain perfection, he says. Tyage naike amritatvama nashuhu, means by tyaga, by renunciation. Tyaga is a synonym of sannyasa. There are many differences, but synonym. By renunciation, you will obtain the amrita, the immortality, the highest state, he says. Now, if you read these two, 100% you will get confused. See, today you are not confused because you have neither read that nor have you understood this. So you are in a happy state. Oh, how wonderful the discourses and all that. As we start going into the depth, so many confusions, so many questions will start coming up. Masters are very happy if the students get confused. Why? Because confusion is the first sign of wisdom. See, who are the people who say, I have no confusion? Either they have not understood anything. A person who is in total ignorance will have no confusions. He will do the wrong thing in a perfect way. Without any doubt, he will do the wrong things. Or a person who has full wisdom, that person also will not be confused. He will have that clarity because he knows what is what. But a person who is in the middle will necessarily be confused. Different grades of confusion, we can say. So as the wisdom starts emerging from within you, then all these confusions will disappear. So the language of contradiction is always employed by the great masters in order to help the student overcome all the attachments. When I say all the attachments, every form of attachment. The same Upanishad says, if you revel in darkness, that is, if you revel in ignorance, you are in darkness. But if you revel in knowledge, then you are in greater darkness, he says. Again there, you may wonder, no, what am I to do? Am I to be in ignorance or knowledge? So what he means there is, see, knowledge is only the method by which you are going to go to the highest. So some people get involved with the knowledge aspect. They get stuck there. So obviously the student who would have come to him, that particular master, would be involved or completely fixed with the knowledge aspect. Therefore to him he says, if you revel in knowledge, now you will be in greater darkness. It's in a very strong way he puts it. So if you read the Puranic stories, the various ways by which the masters have guided the students, you will always find that the masters keep making such statements. That is why when it comes to our scriptures, you should not take any verse out of context and try to understand it. You should always see the context. In Tamil language we say, no, idam porul eval, means context. The context is so important. See, today there is a tendency to take portions of from the scriptures. It could be the Vedas, it could be some other scripture, or it could be the Puranas, or it could be from Ramayana or Mahabharata, wherever. If we just take some portions without any context and say, see, this is what the scripture is saying, then it will definitely cause confusion. The same master will say 10 different things in 10 different contexts, but the principle will be one and the same. If the student gets attached to knowledge, see, he says, no, if you gain knowledge, you will be if you revel in knowledge. See, there is always that subtle principle given. He is not talking of merely gaining knowledge, but reveling in knowledge, means you completely get lost in that. So he is denouncing that also. So supposing he finds a student being too attached to the rituals, let us say, then the master will say, rituals are not going to help you. If a student gets too attached to the master himself, let us say, to the form of the guru, then he will say, you should move away from the guru, not to be taken literally, just to create that balance. A guru cannot help you, he'll say. So never take these statements independently and try to understand them. Depending upon the context is set by the student only. Where is the student's mind fixed? Where is his nishta right now? That is the question. That determines the student's level. Your nishta determines your level, your fixation. So many levels of spiritual development are there. At the lowest level, you will be fixed on the external wealth, the name, fame, so many things. The next level, you will be fixed on pleasures. The third level, you will be fixed on creative work and achievement and all that. Fourth level, you will be fixed on emotions, relationships. Fifth level, your mind will get fixed on intellection, analysis, the clarity, the clear presentation and all that. Like this, different levels are there. The master always determines the fixation, the nishta of the student, which incidentally the student himself may not be aware of. See, it is very difficult to find what your nishta is, where your mind is fixed. If you are able to locate your fixation, it is a big breakthrough as far as your sadhana is concerned. Because all your thoughts, your emotions, your insecurities, your behavior, your speech, everything is coming out from your nishta only. If a person is, let us say a person's nishta is wealth, means he is a slave to wealth, everything which he does will be based on wealth only. Any relationship he will automatically, unconsciously judge based on whether that will be profitable to him or not. Even family also. See, nowadays you find many people, they say, when they choose partners, no, I would prefer a partner earning so much salary, they will say. Why? Because the nishta has become wealth. In the good old days, it was not that. It is a question of love. Yes, the money part, the responsibility part is also important, but the basis, the foundation of the relationship was not wealth. The foundation of relationship was love. So, wherever your nishta is, that becomes the foundation of your life. Everything which you do, that nishta will prompt you to do it in a particular way. So, one of the main things, or I would say a key milestone, which as a sadhak you should strive to achieve, is locate your nishta. If you are able to locate your nishta, then through the sadhana you can burn up all that and move to the next level very fast. A guru helps you to locate your nishta. If you carefully wade into his words, if you carefully look at the way he is guiding you, you will get your clues. He will be trying to pull you away from certain things, and he will be trying to push you into certain things. That is actually your nishta. He having determined your nishta, he will be guiding you that way. So this is one very good homework which you can take. All these homeworks are not just for 1 day or 2 days. These are practices for your life. Whenever you sit for your reflections, just close your eyes and ask yourself, what is my nishta? Where am I fixed? As I told you, it's not so easy to find out, but through sadhana, you'll slowly start becoming very subtle. And the more subtle you are, you'll be able to see what is happening deep within you. A person may look externally very spiritual, in quotes. He may be studying the scriptures, he may be worshipping, that is going through all the rituals every day. All these things he may be doing, but his nishta may be elsewhere. His faith may not be there. So it is not about the externalities. Deep within you, what is your fixation? And when you are in this path, the yogic approach, with the guidance of the master, when you do your sadhana, all the relative beliefs, all the relative fixations will one by one start dropping, because you will be getting fixed on higher and higher things. That process will gradually start happening within you, and a time would come where you will be ready to drop off everything, because you will get fixed on the infinite. So till that point of time, there will be this tussle between you and the master. It's not actually a fight or anything, but the tussle, the tug of war will be there. If you take it as a game, it will be very enjoyable. But if the ego takes over, then that can cause a lot of unpleasantness. So here we can see how Krishna is giving that psychological treatment to Arjuna. and he is attacking the root of Arjuna's nishta. The entire problem which Arjuna is facing is because he believes that by getting away from action, now he can get peace. He feels doing this particular action is wrong, that was his duty, but he wanted to get away from that. And he truly started believing that by getting away from that, he can actually do good to himself and others, that he can grow. So now that nishta was making him talk in a particular way, was making him act in a particular way. So if Krishna tells Arjuna merely to fight, now come on Arjuna, I think you should start doing your duties. Now Arjuna will not be able to practice that. Why? Because his nishta is just the opposite. So that is why Krishna is so scientifically attacking Arjuna's nishta, fixation. Once he rattles Arjuna's foundation and gets him fixed on the higher concepts, thereafter, if he gives him a personal advice and says, Arjuna, I think you need to do this, this will be very helpful to you, Arjuna will be in a position to follow that advice. So without working on the root nishta, any amount of advice will not work. You know, I've heard this joke where a man had a psychological disease. He thought that he was an insect. He suddenly got into that nishta, we are using the word. He believed that he was an insect. And so he developed a lot of fear that a hen or a cock would come and kill him. So whenever he used to see any hen, he used to get so afraid, and that fear started consuming his sleep also. So he was taken to a psychiatrist for treatment. And for many days, many weeks, many months, the psychiatrist gave him a lot of lectures and advice, convincing him that he is not an insect. He told him, see, you're a human being, you have 2 hands, you have 2 legs, see, you're standing straight, you have a vertebral column. So like this, the various characteristics of a human being were told to him, and he gave him so much of advice, logic. And the man kept on hearing this day after day, day after day, day after day, and finally after a few months, the psychiatrist called the man's family and said, he has been completely cured now. So the family said, sir, are you sure? Are you sure, doctor? He said, yes, you can ask him in front of me. Or what are you? He will give an answer. So the man was there, and the family members asked him, so what are you? He said, I am a human being. So all of them clapped. They became so happy, At last, he has understood he is a human being. He is not an insect. So they were all very thankful to the doctor, and they went out. Now, after going out, just before getting into the car, the man said, I just want to go and ask the doctor one small doubt. I have one clarification. So the family member said, okay, we'll also come along. So all of them came and said, doctor said, what happened? No, sir, he just had some clarification. He wanted to ask you something. Yes, what is it that you want to ask? The man said, doctor, I am 100% convinced. I know that I am not an insect. I am a human being. But my only fear is, do all these hens, do they know that I am a human being? So the doctor said, get admitted again, I have to give you more treatment. This is a very interesting joke, but there is a very deep principle there. Even though he was externally saying, I am a human being, his nishta, his faith was in reality that he was an insect. So just by external counseling and convincing him and all that, it will not work. The root cause has to be worked on. The nishta has to change. So you will say, I am God, I am God. Supposing you keep saying, I am God, I am God, just because you've heard these great truths. Now all that is fine, but when some small problem comes, now all this God and everything will go away. Supposing, let us say, you get a small pain in your knee or somewhere on your back or something. Now, I am God. No, God no, I am the pain, the pain will take over. So where is your nishta? You have to find out and keep doing the sadhana so that your nishta keeps on becoming more and more subtle. You change your focus to higher and higher things and ultimately to the infinite. So, what is he saying here? Very, very interesting verse. He says, by non-commencement of action, karmanam anarambhat. This is a very powerful verse because he attacks the faith or the fixation of not merely Arjuna but of entire humanity, because these are the common weaknesses which people have. See, why is the Bhagavad Gita universally applicable? Because when we are seeing the various ups and downs of Arjuna's personality, it is not about one person called Arjuna. Arjuna is a representation of humanity. These are the weaknesses which your mind has. Arjuna is a representation of your own mind. So it is not only this one fixation. As we go verse after verse, Krishna will be getting to the root and shaking all the foundations of all the weaknesses which are there in the mind. So you will find it very interesting, because when you just merely go with the flow of this energy and absorb this wisdom as it is being given to you, you will find there is a tremendous change happening within you, because all your foundational beliefs will start shaking and changing for the good. So when he says na, there is karmanam anarambhat and sannyasa. When he uses these two phrases, one is non-commencement of action, other is sannyas, renunciation. What is he referring to? He is referring to the tendency to give up action, that is the tendency of escapism. This is a very strong weakness which everyone has. Now, why is he using two words? On one hand, he says karmanam anarambhat, that is with reference to the future actions. If you look at it in a general way, he says, if you merely stop initiating actions in the future, now that's not going to give you perfection. When we talk of sannyas, it is more with respect to whatever you have today, which is a product of the past. So whatever possessions or whatever things, whatever actions you're doing today, if you stop doing all that, that is what is meant by sannyas. So whether it is with respect to the future or whether it is with respect to the present, which is coming from the past, merely by escapism is not going to help you. This is the bottom line here in this verse. This is the fundamental principle of this verse. And it's not only this verse, the entire Karma Yoga chapter is based on this principle. See, in verse number 3, he talked of nishta, dvividha nishta, the two-fold path and all that. We saw it in detail. But now, one by one, he's going to take up all the blocks which you normally face in the spiritual path. Spiritual path means in the path of self-purification or self-development. A true master will not merely tell you what to do. He will also give you ways by which you can overcome your hurdles, the blocks, the impediments. Okay, go in this path. And then the master goes away. When you go, there are huge stones which are right in front of you. Now you don't know how to proceed also. So it is the master's duty to tell you the different kinds of blocks are going to be there in the path. And how do you handle each block? That is how this entire chapter is going to be is going to flow, you know. So in the yogic approach, we just flow with that energy, and automatically all your blocks will be removed. That is, when you go with the flow of this energy which he is setting through the, and when you're using the yogic approach, meaning not mere intellection, then what happens is, as you start reading about the blocks and as you start getting deep into that, you will go deep within you, and the process of deep cleansing will automatically happen. One by one, all your blocks will be removed. And when all your blocks are getting removed, you will become a great achiever in your life, a karma yogi. Not only will you become an achiever in your external life, you will also grow spiritually. That is, you will start purifying yourself and you will reach the highest state of perfection. So what is the block which he is talking about here? That is escapism. There is always a tendency for the mind to escape, to run away. Deep within everyone's mind, there is this weakness of wanting to run away, wanting to shirk one's duties. That is why, it's very interesting. Almost as a rule, we can say most people or almost everyone, they always put their plans and all that, plan their activities and how much to earn, what to do and all that, as a plan for retirement. The mind is always occupied with this thought of retirement. It's very interesting. I'm not saying you should not plan for the future, but your entire orientation is towards that. And a decade back or 2 decades back, this concept of premature retirement was brought in. And now that has become so prevalent. See, with the moment the mind starts focusing on retirement means was giving up activities, then subconsciously you are becoming old faster. Please understand this. That is why we find that the diseases which used to occur at the ripe old age earlier, nowadays is coming at a younger age itself. When we see, let us say 25, 30 years back, They said, you should check your pressure, sugar and all these things after a certain age only. After 60, after 70, after 80, after 90. That's how it started. At 90, 80, like that it started. It went on reducing. Now they are saying at 25 itself you should start checking all your parameters. Very interesting. Why? Because of this weakness. So as far as the ancient wisdom is concerned, there is nothing called retirement. You may retire from one work, which is office. There is a retirement age. You may tell me, no sir, but 60 is a retirement age. No, how can you say there is no? That is the external thing. But your tendency to run away from action should never be there. Till the last minute, you should fulfill your obligatory duties. Your duties may change as you go along in life. That is a different matter. There is a very beautiful story about a saint where he was sitting and meditating, and he was giving healing to everyone. And at that time, the god of death approached him. And he said, yes, what is it that you want? Your time has come. Now, I'm going to, you have to come with me. So, the master told Lord Yama that if you can just wait for 2 minutes, I will just complete this task. What was the task? He was giving healing to someone. I've started this. It will just take me just 2 more minutes to complete it. I'll just finish it and then I'm ready. I'll come with you. What does this story show? Till the last minute, the master was doing his duty. That is the spirit of this ancient wisdom. That is what Krishna is trying to teach Arjuna. That is what you should also absorb. Now, he is giving logic. See, in the initial portion of this chapter, he is going to give a lot of logical reasons why a person should act, what will happen if you don't act, how it will cause deterioration of your situation, deterioration of your personality. Everything will be thoroughly analyzed. So a lot of logic will be given, and then Krishna will be making a lot of emotional appeals to Arjuna. He will try to inspire Arjuna's mind through emotions. Various methods will be used by Krishna. One is to absorb the deeper principles of these verses, individual verses. But another interesting thing which you will be learning in this yogic approach is the psychology, the psychological tips, which we get. How Krishna handles Arjuna, how he influences Arjuna's mind. Amazing. So many psychological principles are applied. So if you learn all that and if you practice them in your life, you can achieve wonderful results. Especially you will learn to handle people around you. Even if a person is very tough, you will know how to negotiate with that person, how to get around the person and achieve whatever goal which has to be achieved. So that also we'll be seeing as we go along. So here he uses the word anarambhat. Anarambhat means non-commencement, not starting something new. So this is a common mistake which many sadhaks do. Others, they think if they have to grow spiritually, they should not take up some new undertaking, new projects. The moment something is new, you must have heard some people preaching this. They are not true masters, obviously. They will say, don't start anything new in life. Just continue with the old thing alone. Why? Because why are you unnecessarily starting something and increasing your desires? Now you will get into more samsara. They use this word samsara very often. Samsara means the cycle of birth and death, So why are you getting into the worldliness more and more? So as a spiritual practice, many people, misguided people, they suggest not taking up new things in life. Now here, he is attacking that directly. A person who is stuck with merely the old things, now his mind will never expand and grow. There will be a mechanical approach. See, Krishna himself in his life, he demonstrated this quality. That is, having a freshness in one's approach. In Vrindavan, they had this ritual or festival every year where they used to offer their gratitude to Lord Indra. They used to do the puja, the rituals for Lord Indra, who was a king of heavens. Now, Krishna found that everyone was mechanically following that. Whatever their ancestors had done, they were just mechanically following that without understanding the purpose behind it. So he wanted everyone to truly grow to the next level. That is, he wanted to provide an opportunity to everyone so that they move to the next level. So that particular year, he put this question in everyone's mind. Why should we perform this particular ritual of worshipping Indra? So the elders got quite angry. Krishna, you're a young boy. You should not ask such questions. And he said, I want to know the purpose. Why are you doing this? They didn't know because they were just following things in a mechanical way. So they had no answer. I said, we don't know. Our elders are practicing this, so we are also practicing. He said, I don't see any utility in this. Instead, then they asked him, okay, then what are you suggesting? What worship should we do? He said, let us worship the cows. They were all cowherds. Let us worship the cows. Let us worship the Govardhana mountain, because the cows are grazing there in the mountains. So that is only giving us the bread and butter, the cows and the mountain. So let us worship all this. So this year, let us change the practice. Many of the people, of that village, they were shocked when Krishna suggested this. He said, how can you suggest that? They were all against that. So then Krishna asked them, see, you give me a proper logic, reason. Now, isn't it true that we owe our life to our cows? We owe our life to this mountain? Then we have to offer our gratitude to them first. So they said, no. If we don't do this worship now, Lord Indra will get angry. And if he gets angry, we'll all be finished. Krishna said, don't worry, I will protect you all. The story, the story is that Indra got angry. They started worshipping the mountains and the cows. Indra got angry, and he, being the god of rains, he poured down too heavily. And the incident is that Krishna lifted the Govardhana mountain with his little finger and held it as a shade to all the people, gave shelter to all the people. There's another purpose to that whole incident, because after many days, then Indra was so humbled that he came and apologized to Krishna. And that time Krishna gives a beautiful message to Indra. He says, Indra, it is only out of love that I did it. It is not that I am angry with you, because you had become very egoistic. And I don't, you being you're like my brother, he said. And I was feeling very unhappy that you allowed the ego to corrupt your mind, and you had started developing a superiority complex. So I wanted to get rid of your ego. I wanted you to be free of that impurity. So that is why I created all this drama, just to push you to the next level. So that's a very, it's a very, very beautiful portion of Krishna's life, See, whomever Krishna met, he was giving guidance either directly or indirectly. Even when he killed Shishupala, that was for his moksha only. There is another previous life incident. I am not getting into that full thing now, because that is very voluminous. But the point here is that he was trying to teach all the people of Vrindavan that don't mechanically follow something. Understand the purpose. The mind has this tendency to avoid anything fresh. No doubt, whatever people have given in the past were powerful practices. But unless and until you understand the purpose behind them, those practices will become mechanical. So it's beautifully given. Anarambhat. Arambhat means starting something new. So starting something new could be at the physical level, it could be at the thought level also, a new idea. It could be at the emotion level, a new way of looking at things. So according to the trend, according to the external situation, many external practices may have to be changed. See, we cannot live exactly the same lifestyle, we cannot follow that which our ancestors had followed. 100% it's not possible, because times have changed completely. But we can follow the principles which they had given, because those principles were all the higher principles of life. That is what is the meaning of Sanatana Dharma. Dharma means the truth, the higher principles. Sanatana means that which does not change according to time. So the principles will not change, but your external practices will change as the environment changes, as the culture changes, as the trend changes. But we have to ensure that the same principles are followed. So when he uses the word arambaha, arambaha is a very powerful word which means a freshness in one's approach. It could, as I told you, it could be at the physical level, it could be at the emotional level, or at the intellectual level. Now, why is he using that word? Because unless and until you develop this freshness in your approach, no change is possible. Your mind expands when it wants to do new things, or even the old things in a new way, in a fresh way. See, new things doesn't mean necessarily new things externally. It means not being mechanical, not just following from the past in a mechanical way, but living purposefully. That is the deeper meaning of arambaha. So when you drop off that quality of the mind to explore new things, now you are completely stifling the growth of your personality. See, even externally in any field, how does the improvement take place? It is only when people try out new things that improvement happens, no? Isn't it? Otherwise, we'll all be living in caves only. Look at the first model of the car which was made, and then look at the present model. It's very interesting sometimes when you see those photographs, from where to where it has come. Even the bicycle, you see, the first bicycle, very big wheels, If we try to ride that bicycle now, we'll not be able to do it. But the improvement kept on happening. Why? Because of this quality of arambaha. They wanted to start new things. They wanted to keep on improving. So self-improvement is possible only if you bring in that freshness, that newness in your approach. If you don't have this, if you don't practice this principle of arambaha in your life, you will stagnate and devolve. That is why when this whole thing went online, when many people, especially during the empowerment and all, the username, password, all those things are given, and there was a lot of confusion with many people because they were not updated with the technology. So I kept saying during a few lectures, as a sadhana, get yourself updated with what is happening with the latest technology, with whatever it is. It is not to get involved in that technology. It is not because now this is more valuable than that and all that. It is not for that. As a sadhana, it is to keep the freshness alive. Otherwise, you will become outdated. Your thoughts also will become outdated. So for any kind of improvement, this quality of arambaha is necessary. The tendency of the mind to explore new things. So when it comes to improvement of your own self-improvement, it is the same quality which will aid you. It's not only a question of aid or help. That quality is the main thing. How were you 10 years back? Now you will remain the same now also if you don't explore new things. So as a spiritual practice, you can practice this arambaha, that is, bring freshness in your approach, in everything which you do. Always see how I can improve in every sense of the term. Whatever activities which you're doing today, how can I improve them? Every day I should do things in a better way than what I was doing yesterday. That is the sadhana of arambaha. There are many other deeper principles. We'll be seeing that one by one. But prima facie, the first thing which you need to learn from this verse is that quality of maintaining the freshness in your approach. So freshness means freshness in your actions. So do your homework. Whatever activities I'm doing, you get into a comfort zone, generally. The mind does not want any change. So whenever you become too comfortable with something, then there is a chance of tamas setting in, laziness. Then you will stop putting effort. It will just keep mechanically going on. So do your homework and see what are the actions I'm performing. Now how do I improve them? So in order to improve, you will necessarily have to bring that freshness in your approach. The moment you ask that question, how do I improve something, that will have to change your attitude to, in terms of incorporating that freshness or newness in your approach. Then speaking. How do I improve my speech? Relationships. Mechanically it's just going on, same things. How do I improve my relationships? How do I get updated with more knowledge, whatever is required? The trend, the practices keep changing very fast, So in that fast-paced world, how do I remain updated? Remember, education does not end after your university studies. For some people, after school itself, education stops. Some people, after university, education stops. That is only a start. Education should be throughout your life. If you're a doctor, you should keep on getting updated about the latest developments. If you're an engineer, you should keep on getting updated about the latest developments in your field. The only thing which is changeless is the infinite. As far as you are functioning in the realm of the finite, you should always keep striving for improvement. So you first start off with your external actions, your speech, your emotions, your relationships, your thoughts and ideas. In psychology they say, whatever thoughts you think today, the next day, 99.9% the same thoughts only are entertained by everyone. That shows the mechanical nature, the mechanical attitude. So, till yesterday, I was thinking negatively about this. From today onwards, I will start thinking positive. Just trying that, even bringing that intention, that will start bringing the freshness. So, you are doing the Yoga Sankirtan Sadhana every day. Now, after a while, it shouldn't become mechanical. So, what do? Every day, consider that is the beginning. Do the Yoga Sankirtan Sadhana as if you're doing for the first time. See, that is the trick here. The sadhana tip which is being given to you is, consider every day as a fresh start. Arambaha means starting. So every day when you wake up, that is when you were born. It is a fresh start. That is the starting point of your life. If you go to a more advanced level, it is not every day. Every moment is an arambaha of a fresh experience. So when he says, na karmanam anarambat means non-commencement. If that energy gets into your system, then you are resisting the natural flow. What is a natural flow? experience by experience. This experience ends and a new experience starts. And then that ends and a further new experience starts. That is how life keeps flowing. It is called anubhavadara, the flow of experiences. One day ends, a fresh day emerges. 1 month ends, a new month comes out. That's why they called it the new year, no? Why did they keep the new year even in our ancient times? The calendar differs, the solar calendar, lunar calendar and all that. But the concept, the principle is the same. Just to break that mechanical attitude, yes, now the new year is starting, building that fresh approach. In our ancient culture, it is not merely the New Year celebrations. Every month, there is a celebration. Every day there is a celebration. And advanced yogis celebrate every moment, every breath which they take in. When the exhalation happens, the breath ends and then a new breath starts. It is an occasion for celebrating. There is a arambaha of a new breath cycle. So from where do you start? You start first from the externalities, basics. And then you go on subtilizing this sadhana of arambaha. The more fresh you become, the faster you will grow. And when you keep on growing, it is a question of time. When you're ready, you will get that ultimate experience of the infinite. Infinite means no beginning, no end. It is a process of continuous growth. So the tendency of anarambha, that actually pulls you down spiritually. So we'll stop with that today. You reflect on the principles which have been given. These are all powerful principles, practical principles, which are life-changing. If you absorb the energy of each and every aspect which is going to be given here, you cannot be the same person thereafter. So think about this arambaha and see how you can apply it in your life, because any change can happen only if you practice this. That is why as soon as he starts the explanation of the Karma Yoga, he starts off with this word aramba, nakarmana arambhat. Beautiful start he makes. Okay, so think about that. We'll continue further in the next session. Before we do the meditation, a lot of questions have been asked, technical questions about the Anandoham. I am not taking up those questions. Like some person has asked, what does it mean by opening up the fifth dimension of Anandamaya Kosha? And one person has asked, how do we get attuned to the source of infinite happiness? These kind of technical questions will be addressed during the empowerment course. If I start explaining that to you now, it is not an explanation, it is a sadhana, it is an empowerment which will be given. So that cannot be explained, but the logic of it will be explained during the course, and the empowerment will also be given. So there is one more question also which has come, where a person has said that I am not so regular in my sadhana for the last few months. I have slipped here and there. So am I qualified to attend the empowerment course? See, if there is any qualification, it will be put there. Has it been mentioned that if you don't do your sadhana properly, you are disqualified? If it is mentioned, then that is different. A fact that I have not mentioned it means that is okay. But this is not a license for you not to do any sadhana and come. All this being said is, if you do your sadhana regularly, you will be able to benefit from this course maximum. But if you are inconsistent in your sadhana, then will this course help you? Of course it will help you. It will help you to first gain consistency in your sadhana. The higher help will genuinely be useful to move to the next level. Whatever level you are in today, these empowerments will help you to move to the next level. Of course, there are certain empowerments which requires certain qualifications in terms of certain practices. When that is there, that will definitely be mentioned. Okay, so don't confuse your mind with all these, with your own beliefs and concepts. I have told you this earlier. The fact that you are reading about the empowerment itself means you are ready for it. See, out of millions of people in the world, only a few people even get to know about this empowerment. No? And even if you go and tell everyone, they will just look at you in a blank way. They'll ask you as if, so what? Okay, what is a big deal, empowerment, something you're saying. So one is to read it, other is to understand the value of it. That also you've crossed. Third is you've developed a desire to attend that ichha. So when all these have happened, now you are putting a block unnecessarily saying, am I qualified to attend this? If you are not qualified, will the Guru allow? Tell me. We're not qualified in the sense, if a person is not qualified for something and if that is given, that will not do good to that person, no? So this is a projection of your mind. Unnecessarily you're creating a block for yourself. So whatever be your past, let it be that. Okay, that is what I am. Now in order to move to the next level, I'm going to go through this empowerment. Simple. And when you give that commitment, at least for that you will start doing your sadhana regularly on a daily basis. You will develop more consistency and commitment. The change will start happening much before the empowerment course starts. Try it if you want. Experiment with it. Then only you will understand what I'm saying. Okay, so overcome all these negative beliefs and blocks which are preventing you from arambaha, that is trying out the higher things in life. You don't want to come out of your comfort zone. The mind starts giving some reason or other why I cannot do that. Why I cannot attend the empowerment course. Why should I? Some logic it will give. So don't fall prey to all that. Okay. So with this we'll do the meditation now. Sit in a comfortable position. Gently close your eyes. Breathe deeply. With every breath, feel the divine vibrations hitting each and every cell of your body. With every breath, I'm going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond my physical body, beyond my emotions, beyond my thoughts, lies my essential supreme self. I attune myself to that supreme infinite reality. From this moment onwards, I choose to keep the freshness in my approach towards everything which I do. I choose to improve every day. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. It was a powerful session. The sadhana of arambaha. Reflect on that. Absorb that energy as much as possible. Fortunately for you, these sessions are being kept on the internet, so you can watch them any number of times you want. But what is important is absorb it, absorb these principles as much as possible, and then see how you can put them into practice in your life. In the next sessions, I'll give you more dimensions of arambaha. Each dimension will help you overcome one particular block within you. This is literally like an ocean, so much of depth is there. Okay, so as far as the 22-day empowerment of Anandoham is concerned, as I told you, again, don't put any blocks for yourself unnecessarily. Don't come and sit with the guilt and all that. Come with a free mind. The fact that the registrations have been open to anyone means you can attend that and receive the higher grace. See, opportunities don't keep coming so frequently. Every now and then such opportunities come. So when they come, you should not put blocks on yourself. You should see how to make use of that opportunity to benefit maximum. Don't compare yourself with anyone else. This is your life and your path. You have your relationship with the Guru and you are going to become one with the infinite. Okay. So come out of these limiting blocks and start thinking and acting positively. Okay, so we'll continue in the next session. Thank you very much. Hari Om.